Hi, in this series of cloud computing lectures, in this section we're going to discuss about how to install a multi-node Hadoop cluster on the Amazon cloud. Alright, so I'm going to install Hadoop on a 3-node set of Amazon virtual machines. This is my Amazon console. I'm going to use my console, my terminal program to connect to the remote nodes and some Apache Hadoop sites to get the location of the Hadoop distribution. Okay, let's start with instantiation of our virtual machines. So I'm going to use the EC2 service. Alright, click Launch Instance. I will use Ubuntu Paravirtualization version of the server, so I will select this one. We're going to need some high memory nodes, so I'm going to select M3.X large nodes, and I'm going to select 3 of them. Okay, the number of instances is 3. No preference on availability zone, so I can add storage. Let's increase it to 16 gigabytes of storage. Give a name. I'm going to select an existing security group which I previously used. This is a default security group. By default it only has SSH, but I changed it to accept all TCP, UDP and ICMP connections. Let's review and launch. Okay, Ubuntu Server 14.04 paravirtualized server, M3.X large type of instance. These are the security groups that are allowed, the connections. The storage is 16 gigabyte per node. Now let's launch it. Okay, so to be able to connect to Amazon nodes, we're going to need a public key, a public-private key pair. So I previously created one, so I'm going to select one of my key pairs, and I say launch the instance. Okay, now I can go back to the services while my instances are launching. Click on the instances on the side menu, and you see the status is still pending. Okay, let's wait until the status says running. In the meantime, let's note down the IP addresses. We're gonna need them later. Okay, so the public IP addresses are noted. The instance state says running. Now we can start using it. Alright, let's switch to the terminal program. I have 3 tabs in here. I'm going to use SSH to be able to connect to these 3 nodes. Let's start with a connection to the first one. I'm going to use my private key, which I downloaded before, and it's in my downloads folder. Okay. The default username open for an Ubuntu server is Ubuntu. The user Ubuntu @. Give the name, the IP address of the first machine. Okay, now I'm connected. Let's note down these local IP addresses as well. 10.47.191.11. Okay, now let's connect to the other two nodes as well. The second IP address is 54.234.35.83. Okay, let's note down the second internal IP address. And this is the last one. Okay, now we're connected to all three nodes. Let's note down the last internal IP address. Okay, now next thing we're going to do is to install Java on all of them. So probably Java is not installed. You can easily check it. So if you click on the tab and it doesn't show, then it is not installed. Okay, so we have admin privileges by default, so we can use the sudo command. First, type in sudo apt-get update. Okay, Hadoop can work with Java version 7, so we're going to install Java version 7. We type in sudo apt-get install and give the name openjdk-7-jdk. Type yes. Okay, done. By default, SSH is configured on Ubuntu, but you can easily check if it is installed in your system. See, the SSH commands are there, so we don't need to install SSH. Next thing we're going to do is to do the same thing for the other nodes. Okay, while it's installing in here, let's do the same thing in here. Okay. Now Java is being installed. Let's go back to the first node and change the directory into user lib jvm. Okay, so we're going to create a symbolic link so that we don't have to write Java 7 OpenJDK AMD64 all the time. So we're going to use the ln command, indicate that it is a symbolic link, and give the name. And we're going to just give a name JDK by default. Okay, so permission is denied. You need to use a sudo before ln. I always forget that. Okay. Let's do the same thing for the others. Sudo ln-s. Okay, let's see. What was the name of the file? Java. Okay, let's copy the comments. Okay, now we are done with installing Java. Next thing we're going to do is create a specific user just for the usage of Hadoop environment. Okay, so we will first create a group. Every user belongs to a group. We will use the add group command and give the name Hadoop. Okay, the group is created and the group ID is 1001. Now we're going to add a user in group Hadoop, and the name of the user is going to be HT user, and you can set a password for that user. Just type enter. Okay, now we are going to give sudo privileges, which is admin privileges, to that user. See, again, sudo add user HT user to the sudo group. Done. Okay, we're going to do the same thing for the other nodes as well. We will start adding the group, sudo add group Hadoop, sudo add user in group Hadoop. The name of the user is HT user. Give the password. Okay. Sudo privileges. Okay. Last one. Add group Hadoop. user in group. Okay, now we have created the user. Now we can log in as that user. Su hd user. And go to the home directory. Okay. Okay. Now we are done with creation of the users. Next thing we need to do is configure the host etc host files. So we're going to give names to each one of these computers. Let's start with the first one. Okay, change the directory into etc. Open the host files with VI editor. Okay, so the inside context of the file is like this. It's when I type in insert, says changing a read-only file, so that means I cannot do any changes. So we need to use again sudo privileges. Let's go back. This time use sudo vi. Okay, it's asking my password. Alright, now I can add new entries. Alright, so remember the internal IP addresses. We're going to type in those IP addresses and give names for that. So let's say the name for this one is master slave, because we're going to use that both as master node as a slave node as well. Okay, next IP address 47.181.45. Give the name slave 2. And the last one 10.145.15.82, and that is slave 3. Okay, and we're going to have to copy this one and do the same thing for all the other nodes. So sudo vi etc host. Okay. All right. Now the last one, sudo vi host. Okay. All right, now we're done with that as well. Next thing we're going to do is set up some environment variables, and these are really important. So the environment variables are set up inside a file in your home directory. So we change to our home directory. There's a file called .bashrc. We're going to open that with the VI editor. .bashrc. Okay, so this is where you set your environment variables. Type in insert. Okay, next thing we're going to do is export a variable called Java home. So indicates where Java is installed. Remember that we have installed it under user lib jvm, and we gave a symbolic name called jdk, and we add that to the path. Path is equals java home under bin, and we add that into the path. Okay. Alright, so this is for Java, but we are going to also need some Hadoop environment variables as well. But let's do this to all the other nodes. Copy this one. Okay. Alright, so let's download Hadoop. Let's go back to the Apache downloads site and select one of them. I'm going to use the US mirror because my nodes are instantiated in the US data center. That's why I'm going to choose a closer one. Okay, so to be able to download it, I'm going to use the wget command, wget, and give the HTTP URL. Now it's downloading. Okay, untar it. Do the same for the other nodes. Okay, last one. And enter it. All right. Now Hadoop is installed, and you can see we're going to use this directory as a Hadoop's home directory. Okay, next, what should we do? Set up the Hadoop environment variables. Okay, let's do this. Again, we're going to open the bashrc file. And we're going to add some additional export commands in here. We will start with the Hadoop common home variable. And that is where we installed Hadoop. It's under home hd user Hadoop 2.6.0. Okay, so this is my Hadoop folder. Another variable, Hadoop mapper at home. That is again my Hadoop common home. I'm going to need HDFS home, so Hadoop HDFS home. That is again my Hadoop common home. Okay, we're gonna need yarn home. That's again the same directory. And we're going to add the Hadoop commands to the path. So we add the path Hadoop common home bin directory. Also, we're going to add sbin directory. Okay, so we're done. Do the same for the others. Oopsies, I did something wrong. Alright, now we're done with that. Before we start with adding some specific entries to the XML files, Hadoop XML files, we need to allow passwordless SSH connections from the master node to the slave nodes. So to be able to do that, we're going to generate a public private key for the master node. Let's do that. Key generator. I believe the RSA and empty password. Okay, that is generating a public private key by using the RSA algorithm with an empty password. Just enter and the image is generated and it is created inside your .ssh folder. Okay, you see this is private key, this is public key. Now we're going to see the insides of the public key. Okay, so we need to copy that entry and open a file named authorized keys. And inside that, I'm going to add that public key. Okay, now I need to do this. I need to add this key to the other node's authorized key files. Since I haven't generated any public-private key, there is no .ssh folder on these nodes, so I'm going to create one. Authorized keys. Okay, I added the public key of the master here. Do the same. make sure that this .ssh folder is created under your home directory. Okay. Authorized keys. Okay. All right. Let's try if the master can connect to the other nodes. Okay. The second node's internal IP was 1047.181.45. Okay, so it didn't ask any password. That is okay. Let's exit. Try itself. 1047.191.11. No password. Okay. The last node. 10.145.15.82. No password. Okay. All right. Now we're good to go. We will start changing the Hadoop configuration files now. Let's change to the home directory. Change to Hadoop, etc Hadoop. Okay, you see all these XML files. These are basically the configuration files for Hadoop. So we will start with the core site XML file. We're going to open it. Okay, so we're going to add under the configuration tags any property tags, and each property tag has two different fields, name and value. Okay, inside the property tags, we're going to add a name value, name tag, and a value tag. Okay. All right, the name of the variable is fs.defaultfs. That is where the HDFS master is, so you should be careful with this one. So our master nodes, we gave the master node name master-slave, right? So we're going to give that in this format, HDFS, and give the name of the master slave. You can give a port number if you would like, but by default I think it was 9000. I'm not sure. Okay, this is the one that you're going to need to be careful with. This is the master node, the name node. It's going to be the name node. So this is the end of the changes. I'm going to show you an example for HDFS, probably by using yarn. So let's change the yarn parameters as well. vi yarn site XML. Okay. All right. Let's copy. Oh, I forgot to copy it. Anyway, let's write it again. Property. This time, let's copy before we forget. Okay. Alright, the first parameters is the resource manager's name. So yarn.the resource manager dot hostname. Again, we're going to give the name of the master slave node. Master slave. How do they find them? They look into the etc host files and find the IP address of master slave. Okay, so we're going to need another property. This one is yarn dot node manager aux services, and this is the type of the scheduler, that is MapReduce shuffle. Okay, alright, I believe that's it for the yarn side XML. For the HDFS side XML, you can indicate where exactly in your file system Hadoop should store the files, but I'm not going to do that. I would like Hadoop to use the default place, which is the temp folder. So I will just indicate the replication count in here. The replication count, oops, another problem, is dfs dot replication. That indicates how many replicas of each block of the file will be created. And I give the default is 3. Okay. We're going to change the MapRed site XML, but there is a template file, so we're going to move the template file to MapRed site.xml. Okay. Alright, we will indicate the scheduler for any MapReduce application. Here we would like to be thorough. That is MapReduce.framework.name, framework.name, and that is going to be yarn. Okay. Alright. Now we need to indicate who's going to be a slave nodes. So there is a file called slaves, and we want to delete the local host from here and add our nodes master slave, slave 2, and slave 3. Okay. Alright. So here is the thing. Now we have made every change in the first node. We need to copy all these changes to the other nodes as well. So let's change back to the home directory. We have to do this very carefully. Alright, for in and cat home HD user Hadoop 6.2.6.0 etc Hadoop slaves. Okay, do. echo I rsync. We're going to use the rsync command. AVXP exclude logs, because we don't want to change any logs to be copied to the other nodes. We give the folder home the user Hadoop 2.6.0 to home Hadoop 2.6.0. I hope I haven't done anything wrong. Let's check again. For IN, all the slave files do print I, rsync, exclude the logs, and copy this one to the slave directory, and that should be the last one is done. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, let's check if it updated. Cat Hadoop core site XML. Yep. Parent site XML. HDFS site XML. MapRed site XML. And the last one is slaves. Okay, so everything is copied correctly. Now we're ready to launch our cluster. Okay, let's first format our name node by using the command. Let's see. Okay, it cannot still find it, so you need to source the bashrc file. So the environment variables are placed. So source dot bashrc. Okay, do the things in the others dot bashrc. Okay. Oh, sorry. Bashrc. Alright, let's format the name node. HDFS name node format. Okay, so everything seems to be alright. We need to start the daemons. We will start the DFS daemons first. Start distributed file daemons. Starting name node and data node. Yes. Starting secondary name node. And that's it. Let's check with JPS. Okay. Name node, data node, and secondary name node are running on the master. Let's check the slaves. JPS. The data node is running. The data node is running. Everything is okay. Let's start yarn. Okay, again, check with JPS. Name nodes, data nodes, node manager, and resource manager has to run on the master. Node manager has to run only on the slaves. Okay, node manager is running. Node manager is running. Okay, let's get a report. HDFS DFS admin dash report. Okay, so this is basically the configured capacity, the total capacity of the disk. Used is 0%. The first live data nodes, three data nodes. So this is the first one, which we have given, master slave, and it is running on this port number. The second one, slave 3 and slave 2 are all running on the same port number on different IP addresses. Okay, so let's check the yarn list. Yarn node list. And 3 nodes are running correctly, so no problem with that as well. Just quickly, just make a directory. Let's make a directory on HDFS minus mkdir user. Okay, that should have created this folder inside HDFS. Another directory under user. Okay, so we're going to copy one of the directories from the local file system. To the HDFS file system. And give the directory name Hadoop config. Okay, now let's check whether we have successfully copied everything to the HDFS. User Hadoop config. Okay, so we have successfully copied all these items from the configuration folder to the HDFS. Okay, so that is how you can start a multi-node Hadoop cluster. So that is the end of our tutorial. In our next one, we're going to see some basic HDFS command line operations.